And we are live. What is going on, guys? Yasin here. Welcome back to my channel, Yasin Explicit. I have a special episode for you today with a special guest. See, a lot of people told me, obviously, not to bring certain guests on and whatnot, but I don't really believe in all of that stuff, right? I think everyone should kind of share their perspective and their side of the story. So I will bring him on and I will talk about whatever we want to talk about, right? So let's get straight into it. Hasanat, thank you for being here.
No problem.
First of all, for those who don't know,
Yeah.
who are you and what do you do, or why did you
So
get
I
famous?
used to be a social media influencer sort of guy about 5 years ago.
Okay.
It was, I hate even talking about it. It was like couples content and stuff like that.
Mm.
I cringe when I look back at it, man.
Couple goals.
That stuff.
Yeah. So Hasanat, we actually live very close in terms of the area, in terms of stuff. Where did you grow up in? What area?
So I was born in Bangladesh.
Okay.
Came here at the age of 10.
Mm-mm.
And since, I've been here. I go visit quite often.
Yeah.
Whenever I can. Because a lot of my relatives are still there.
Yeah. So you were brought up in East London, mainly, right?
Yeah. Went to primary school here. Afterwards went to boys' school for about a year or two.
Okay.
And then moved to madrasa.
So tell me more about that. So you went college, and then did you go uni and stuff like that?
No. I dropped out of college. Like that was roughly when I started practicing.
Okay.
At the age of about 17 or so, but it was around a crowd of people who you might deem somewhat extreme in their views. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of after your education, stuff like that, tell me in your like 20s, what were you doing? Did Hasanat have a normal job at a retail shop or something? Did you work in a garage? What was Hasanat up to?
No.
Because I want to find out like what you were doing before all of this kind of stuff all these attacks, what kind of person you are.
Yes,
and obviously tell the people, the real you.
Yeah, of course. So right before I got married, I was selling attar outside the mosque. You know those
What, East London Mosque?
outside East London Mosque.
Wow.
You might have seen me there. Right?
I've seen a lot of people like they sell
they're selling little perfume bottles, innit?
Bulk of attars selling it. Yeah.
So the idea came about from seeing those guys at Sunnah Mosque.
Okay.
This is a long time ago. This is 2013 maybe.
Yeah. Shout out to Sunnah Mosque, by the way.
Yeah.
They're very good brothers.
Very good, very inspirational. Yeah, like I said, I was sort of like inspiration. I thought, well, they managed to, make something out of themselves, selling attars. A lot of people, they were probably just selling just to get by.
Okay.
But I thought, well, I'm going to try and scale it up as well.
Okay. What year is this you're talking about?
This is 2013, I think.
2013.
Just before I got married. I got married in 2014.
2014. Okay.
So I ordered about 70,000 of those
small
perfume bottles, right?
Where did you get that? Like Alibaba.com or something?
Yeah. So I sourced it from there.
Yeah.
A lot of them were defective. A lot of people at the time, they said to me, you won't be able to sell those. But I managed to wholesale a lot of them. We managed to get rid of about 40,000 of those bottles.
Wow.
Like we got them for about 4 pence each.
Yeah.
We would, just the bottles by themselves, sell them about 20p, 25p each.
Okay.
And if we were selling it filled up with the perfumes, those designer inspired perfumes, we were selling for about £3, but our cost price was 14 pence.
Wow. So all your sales were behind the like mosque or elsewhere online?
Mosque or online. When I got married, it became a bit more sort of formal, you can say. We made labels and stuff like that for it. Took it a bit more seriously.
Okay.
Yeah. And then afterwards, I was doing Ruqyah at the time. You know what Ruqyah is?
Yeah, we'll get into that slowly. I want to do it like in a certain...
So also before that, while I was trying to get married, the family of the girl who was going to get married to, they were like, oh, doesn't he have a proper job? Stuff like that. And
you're talking about the first marriage,
Yeah, my first marriage, So this was when I was like 20, 21, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they were like, doesn't he have a proper job? So
Yeah.
just to make them happy, I was like looking for a proper job. So to
Okay.
speak,
Okay.
yeah. I got into, what do you call it? Extractor system installations.
Okay.
You know, extractor systems inside like restaurants,
Yeah.
takeaways,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I would clean those out.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was working with some Syrian Shia guy, but
Yeah. Yeah.
we'd always have debates about, you know,
Yeah.
stuff
So
happening
that was
in the
like
Middle East.
mid twenties.
Yeah, this was just for a few months,
For a
and
few
then
months.
I
Yeah.
was also leafleting. I was a leafleter, so I was
Wow.
leafleting for people.
Yeah.
I was getting about, I think, £40 per 1,000 leaflets. But what
Okay.
I did, I used to have these fisherman vests, right?
Yeah.
So I filled up like 4 different companies' leaflets, yeah. So I
Yeah.
go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Oh wow. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'd have like 120, £140,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
from all these 4 companies. Trying to save up towards getting married.
Yeah.
Although I knew my parents would be very supportive, I'd get a lot of help from relatives and so on in terms of covering the expenses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Me being that young, I
Yeah.
still wanted to do it for myself all of
Okay.
it. So
Yeah.
I paid for almost all of it,
Mm.
except where, you know, they voluntarily, you know, contributed.
So Hassan, you chose the marriage route. So
Yeah.
that means you most likely were practicing, I assume, right?
Yeah, at the time.
Would you
I was
say you
practicing, yeah.
started practicing at a very early age, or tell me more about that? When did you
I
actually
guess
start getting on the deen?
I I had a Islamic upbringing from my
Okay.
mother.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
my father, he was abroad here. Obviously, I told you I came here when I was 10 years old.
Okay. Okay.
So my father got us here.
Mm.
So it was mostly my mother who was with me because my father, he was at work.
Okay.
So he'd only come on the weekends.
Mm.
Yeah, so my mother, she raised me like in a sort of, in a very Islamic manner.
So for most part, you were throughout your teenage years and 20s, you were practicing, going to the mosque, etc.
Yeah. Like even since I went to a private school, madrasa as well.
Okay. Okay.
You wouldn't have seen me like sagging my pants or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
listening to rap or anything like that.
Yeah, because I'm asking this because
wasn't,
obviously
yeah.
I want to get to a question where
Yeah.
obviously a lot of people ask, there was a
Yeah.
time where you were, you had doubts,
Oh,
right?
about the faith, or considering
while you
myself
were
agnostic.
atheist, right?
Yeah. Agnostic, you could say.
Agnostic. So tell me more about that. What kind of thoughts were you having? Because I'll be honest with you, this is obviously a lot of people have these doubts,
Yeah.
right? It's just the difference is that you may have vocalized them, right?
I didn't, to be honest. It all came out through
It somehow came out to the public.
Another person.
That's it, yeah. So tell me, like, what was going through your mind? What, you know?
There's a lot of things that contributed towards that. I guess.
Was it like, oh, I'm angry? Like,
So-
what was your emotions? Like anger or?
No,
like,
throughout my teenage years growing up and stuff like that, there's a lot of YouTube videos and stuff like that you come
Okay.
across. At the time, it was mostly Zakir Naik and things like that.
Okay.
A lot of people raising questions or doubts about the religion. You generally feel satisfied with the answers that Muslim speakers give.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've always been someone who would seek the truth from what I would deem to be unbiased sources.
Okay.
Right? Not to make up your mind on, all right, this is the truth and I'm going to find reasons to justify it.
Yeah.
No, I want to find the truth for what it is, if I can.
Okay.
There are some things you will never know.
Okay.
I understood that. I accepted that. Right? So,
you were on a journey to seek more information and the truth.
Yeah.
Like that.
Not to say that I denied God's existence. To understand more and to challenge some of the beliefs that I grew up with. Because, again, you don't want to, from my perspective, even now, you don't want to grow up thinking that you just happen to be born into the truth without challenging yourself in any way, the beliefs that you hold, your learning history. So, say for example, you as a person, what you believe to be good and bad would be formed by your learning history. Your morals, it comes from the culture that you're around. So you couldn't imagine, you and I, we couldn't imagine, say about 200 years ago, how everyone thought it was okay to crowd around in a stadium, like how people watch a football match.
Yeah.
To watch a man tied up by all four of his limbs, right, with ropes, and 4 horses running in 4 different directions.
That would be barbaric right now, isn't it?
Exactly, but at the time, society saw that as acceptable, and it was a form of entertainment, so to speak. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So with times, things change.
That's it.
What's acceptable, what's not. I guess a lot of that is based on what you observe, what you see, what you hear, the culture around you, your religious beliefs, what your parents teach you as you're growing up. Your teachers.
I think the reason why I asked that is because the community, a lot of the community they have an issue with you. I don't think it's that you went through this phase, but it's more you went through this phase while doing Ruqyah, right? That is the issue.
I answered that.
Clear that up. Clear it up. Like, what was that? And actually, before when did you get into Ruqyah? What year did you get into Ruqyah?
I got into Ruqyah when I was about, I think 16, 17 years old.
That is a very young age.
So at the time, I was the Imam of an Islamic institute.
This is unprofessionally, 16. Like, this is just...
Yeah. I mean,
did people come to you where they...
I'll tell you how it started. So I was made the Imam of an Islamic institute, Al-Ansar Institute, Poplar High Street. Now it's turned into just a maktab. Right? I think it's called Hidayah or something like that now. So at the time, there was a brother who came from Mauritius, an Imam, and he was doing Ruqyah on a sister. Right? He was reciting on her all of these verses, and the reaction that you'd observe as a layman would be that she's gagging, she's having gagging reflexes to the verses she's reciting. So he's like, فَلَمَّا أَلْقَوْا قَالَ مُوسَى مَا جِئْتُمْ بِهِ السِّحْرُ مَا جِئْتُمْ بِهِ السِّحْرُ. And she's like, she's gagging, she's vomiting as well, right?
So that's when like the jinn is trying to exit the body, right?
Yeah, that's a belief most people would hold in our community. So observing that, obviously, it was very scary at the time. I was just there. I used to open up the center, close it, lead the prayers and stuff like that. So I think the brother was tired from reciting and stuff. Right? He asked me if I wanted to help out reciting. So I did, and I guess that is how it started.
So pretty like randomly you just got into it. Okay.
I'm already appointed as an Imam, and with Ruqyah, it's not a thing for which you have a specific syllabus that you have to learn.
Do you need training? Do you need to be qualified?
No, you don't. No.
You don't. Because you can pretty much do it on yourself, isn't it?
A lot of people might say otherwise, but the truth is you don't. I'll tell you why. Because from the very famous hadith that's known about the Prophet ﷺ, one of the Sahaba, I think it was Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, they were on an expedition, and they came across some people that their leader had some sort of scorpion bite or snake bite or something like that. And they came and asked, is there a Raqi amongst you? Is there someone who can do Ruqyah? Ruqyah is just words that have healing effects. Right? So again, as you can see from the examples of a hadith, it was mostly, Ruqyah was mostly used for things like that. Like physical pain. Or,
so Hasanat, going forward, that was 16, 17, you said you started. When did you start professionally, getting the clients?
You mean like getting paid for it?
Actually getting paid for it, and maybe even did you have employees? Did you have a team behind you doing it? Tell me more about that and what.
We progressed onto that. So to begin with, it was just myself, just doing Ruqyah, helping people out, based on what I knew. And what I learned from the books and what I was taught by some Raqis, some teachers, a lot of which I, in hindsight, I don't see as being correct beliefs.
Also, bro, like what's the process like? Obviously, I'm not in this industry. how do you become a Raqi?
How do you
Like,
become a Raqi?
how do you advertise? Obviously, in other industries, there's like you go on Instagram, make a page, advertise. How do you become a Raqi? How do you get clients?
I guess that is what people do. Like,
Oh, similar, yeah.
yeah. From their experience, they'll learn about Ruqyah. If they're confident enough, they will do Ruqyah on someone. It's not something that people held as a profession at the time of the Prophet ﷺ or his companions. Excuse me. It's something very, very recent, and you'll find it very hard to trace any narrations that talk about Ruqyah for jinn possession specifically. A lot of scholars even don't uphold the belief that jinn possession even exists. They'd say, you know, it's some form of mental illness.
Okay.
You understand? And I guess I would lean more towards that, because from my observations I've seen and tested a lot of people that I done Ruqyah on.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll give
like
you
mental health.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
So for example, generally speaking, what people do in Ruqyah is they'd get a client, someone coming to them saying, oh, I think I have such and such problem. I've been told that I had black magic done on me, right? So these Raqis, they're generally very cunning, man. I don't want to speak for every single person, but from what I observed of these Raqis, they just run with it. Whatever is gonna make them benefit most.
Yeah.
Right?
So are you saying they're trying to make that money as well, and
these people are
have
ignorant.
those clients come back?
These people are ignorant, so they're going to say, oh yes, black magic has been done on me. And truth be told, I don't have the power or the knowledge of the unseen. I can't look at someone and say, yeah, you're possessed. I can't look at someone and say, yeah, you're afflicted by magic. That's something that we call ilm al-ghayb, knowledge of the unseen. But based on what a lot of people believe about Ruqyah, is that you would recite these specific verses.
Yeah.
So for example, if you recite some verses that have the mention of jinn,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen some videos, you can Google it, YouTube it, yeah? So you'll see a lot of Raqis reciting like, Ya ma'ashar al-jinn, Ya ma'ashar al-jinn, Ya ma'ashar al-jinn, like how we're sitting. And the belief that they hold is that if you repeat it and you're sincere, right, and you have that intention of performing Ruqyah on someone, if there is a jinn with that person, it's supposed to feel some burning sensation or pain of some sort, or torture. And so it will speak through your tongue.
Tell me one or two of your like the worst scary jinns. Like,
this is what I mean. Like it would be very easy for me to just make something up and be like, oh, that was very scary. But
a situation where even yourself, you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, what is this? I've never seen this before. Because obviously there's been many situations, I know, but one that stood out and you were like, whoa, this is...
I've dealt with a lot of people, like every day, it would be from like 7 a.m. all the way up until like 12 midnight.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, like I'm hardly even eating, you understand? And then because I was really exhausted, like drained out, I thought, let me get some other people to do the Ruqyah. And you know, we'll just arrange it.
Also, what do you think the percentage, male and female, which clients did you get more of?
Mostly women.
Mostly women. What would you say the percentage? Like 70% women, or?
Probably 70% women, yeah.
Do you know the reason for that?
It's tragic and it's funny. Because truth is, like a lot of people, there's one brother that came in, you know, pretending to be possessed.
Yeah.
So he came in pretending to be possessed, and the reason is that it diverts blame away from him for beating up his wife. He beats up his wife every other day. Right? It's not him who did it.
So he genuinely abuses her. but he's trying to mask it as
It's
that
the
his,
jinn.
it's the
the
jinn.
jinn that made him, and the poor girl believes that as well, right?
Mm.
And the family believe that as well. So they came in. So like I said to you, like based on that belief, you can test out whether the person is faking it or not.
Okay, so tell me how you diagnosed that, or how you found out. You
So
caught him.
one of the ways, do you know what? I actually didn't want to give all of this away,
Okay.
but I don't know, there might be a lot of benefit to it.
Mm-hmm.
With a lot of people, you could get 2 glasses of water,
Okay.
right? One of them you can recite on it, yeah? And one of them you don't recite over it, any Quranic verses, right? And when you're reciting on the person, and they're expecting you to sprinkle some sort of water on them, some holy water, right?
Okay.
You'd expect them to react, or they'd expect to react.
Yeah.
If somebody is faking it, and they're being told, right, this water, it's being recited on, it's gonna have such and such effect on you, right? Sprinkle a bit of it on them, you'll see them react like crazy, and it's just normal water. So that's one way of understanding. Another way is, as you know, a lot of us, you know, we don't understand Arabic language.
Yeah.
So, but because I know the Arabic language, I can recite passages or sentences in a way so that it appears as if it's the Quran. So I could be reciting and saying that the grass is green and the sky is blue, but as if it's Ruqyah.
Yeah.
Like as-sama'u azraq, al-ardu akhdar, like that. Right? But someone who doesn't know, they'll think it's Quran. So you would test whether there's a consistent reaction with what you recite. So now if I'm reciting an actual verse from the Quran, yeah, and you're reacting in such and such a way, yeah, and your arms are moving around, you're screaming and stuff like that, yeah, and then now I stop, right, and I somehow indicate that, well, this is an even more powerful verse, and I start to recite and say the grass is green, the sky is blue, right?
That's great. So that's like
and there is
guy,
and saying there is no jinn inside you.
Okay, so that's an example of a guy faking it.
Yeah.
Give me an example of a
woman,
lady faking it or something like this.
We had a man who was the CEO of a airline company. Yeah.
Airline, okay.
I don't think she was getting much attention from her husband.
I know where this is going, man.
I don't think she was getting much attention from her husband. So she would come in every other day. I'm trying to figure out for a while actually, like why does she bring a different
by herself? She came by herself.
She brings a different person with her each time, but reenacts the same exact stuff, saying the exact same things.
Yeah. Like what would she say?
Each session. So she'd be like, I've been sent by the mother-in-law, right? So she brings her sister along, says that, she's heard that, witnessed it, okay, right? Now we know who the enemy is.
Yeah.
Brings her mum the next session, says the same stuff, right? And with some of these people, you have to try and figure out how you can help them. Because truth be told, a lot of these cases, they're very complicated, man. Like you have to figure out on the go how you're gonna help them.
Because then you
or how you're gonna. These people are also vulnerable, so you have to also figure out how you can minimize or stop them from being exploited.
Yeah.
By Iraqi, he's gonna see it and just his eyes are.
Yeah.
Ka-ching.
Ka-ching.
Yeah.
That's
you know what I mean? So with this sister, yeah, she was acting out possession, stuff like this. Then after a few times, she brought her husband along. She is aware that he cheated on her with one of the hostesses. Hostesses.
All right. Okay.
Right? He's had a 5-year affair. I shouldn't be laughing.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I see. Yeah.
So yeah, she's trying to get his attention back. Bless her. I don't know. She might have some genuine, mental illness as well.
Okay. So during this time, it seems like the Ruqyah business was doing well, right? You got a lot of clients, and I think you were at one point within East London getting the most clients at Ruqyah business?
Yeah, it wasn't just East London, man. There was
Yeah.
there was a lot of people flying us out
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Qatar and
So,
Dubai and
am I right in saying
Indonesia.
this was like 2015, 2016? That was your peak. Would you say that was
I
your
think,
peak?
yeah, probably about 2015, 16, yeah.
2015, 2016. Okay.
Yeah.
And during that time, obviously, you said you had a team also, right? Is that like one
Yeah,
employee
yeah.
you had?
On and off different people.
Yeah, different
Yeah,
people.
and there's another challenge that comes with that, man. Like
Managing them.
Yeah, like a lot of Rockies, they're known to be.
Was there a time where you kind of just like kind of took a day off to just sit back and like let them do the work?
Yeah, that was most of the
point.
time. Wherever possible, I will do that.
Okay.
Wherever possible, I will do that. Especially
spend time with your kids and whatnot.
Yeah. Because I'm a very hands-on father. I love like spending time with my kids. You know what I mean? It's very difficult to manage some of these people because what it is. Like, I'll give you an example. Yeah, we were away in Bangladesh, and there was this brother who we deemed to be very honest and decent.
Yeah.
Right? He's won Qiraat competitions that were international. Over in Dubai and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I trusted him, and I thought, well, he can handle Ruqyah sessions on his own, where he needs my help in understanding a case. He can give me the details of it, and I'll try to figure out a way in which we can practically help the person.
Yeah.
So he went out to a so-called emergency Ruqyah session in the night.
Okay.
And it was an elderly auntie that he was doing Ruqyah on, and so it was her daughter that called us, right?
Okay.
So we sent him out, and he went there. He recited on the auntie, and then for some weird reason, he told the auntie to stay in the room and went outside to speak with the sister by herself.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So he said to her.
So to the client's mum.
To the
client's daughter.
The client's daughter. Yeah. She's a young sister.
Okay.
And he said to her, well, I have a solution. You know, jinns, they're very scared of Iraqis. Since you're not married, I would advise you to marry me.
Wow.
That's the angle he came at.
So direct. It's blatant.
Talk about.
Yeah.
Do you think people were born yesterday?
Yeah.
The sister was furious. Yeah, she called. I was over in Bangladesh, innit? Brother, I don't know who you sent, but this brother, this is what he said and did. I was furious. I was raging. I
Straight
called him.
Fired.
I said, wait till I
fired.
come. I said to him, wait till I come back. Wait till I come back, man. He's like, please, one more chance. I said, no, man, I can't. You're gonna ruin me.
Yeah.
It's all gonna come on me.
Yeah.
Right? Another guy, another super idiot.
Yeah.
While he was doing adhan, right? He's reciting on his sister, right? He's sitting on the sofa. His sister's there, and we generally always like to keep a third person in the room.
Okay.
You don't want any false allegations on someone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nor do you want someone to, mistreat or abuse the client.
Yeah.
It's either me, my wife, or someone else in the room. I must have stepped out for a minute just to go to the toilet. I left the door open. Yeah. And all I could hear, right, very faint, brother, he's coming too close to me.
Oh no.
Right?
Yeah.
I got up from the toilet, ran out quickly, and I see him, he's proper like this. He's proper getting proper close.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I looked at him like this. Watch after.
Yeah.
He's a young brother as well.
Yeah. What was he, like brought up here or like a...
He was brought up here. He went to madrasa here as well, man. He had really good recitation and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to manage
crazy.
people.
Yeah.
It's difficult to manage people.
So obviously during this time, you were married, or during your years of doing Ruqyah, you were obviously married, right?
Yeah, when we started charging.
Was that your first marriage? Yeah. When did you first get married, Hasanat?
2014.
2014.
2014, yeah.
Okay. Tell me more about that. How was that? Because obviously the perception that people have
Yeah.
through social media, because you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
were on social media,
Yeah.
and during this time it was all of this sort of couple goals. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, look at them.
Yeah.
They're so cute. I want to be like them. Muslim couple on the deen. Amazing, right? But this is all, they're seeing this all
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the phone, right? It's like glorified.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
me kind of the realness. Like what was behind that? Was it actually like that? Or did you have a great relationship? Everything was amazing. Tell me more about that.
I don't even like to
Mm,
talk about her specifically.
mm, mm.
Generally speaking, I feel like for the time that we were married, both of us put effort in towards the marriage. We
Okay.
generally got along well. Where there was problems, we tried to solve it. We didn't, from my perspective, it didn't seem like neither of us were petty.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. But obviously, when the scandal happened,
Yeah.
it's just I haven't really got much to say about it.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of lies that
I think
just came
to
out.
me, and correct me if I'm wrong. To me, it seems like you guys had a actual normal, just a very good relationship. Both were happy, but it's like the outside external factors kind of damaged it. Meaning like the public, the fame, or the clout. This kind of stuff kind of damaged it. Am I right? Or?
Yeah. I don't think I think fame it can destroy you as a person inside.
Okay.
Or it can change parts of you that you generally you wouldn't want for it to change.
Yeah, you become big-headed.
Yeah. Your ego gets inflated by
So is that when you decided that you wanted a second wife?
No. I grew up always like my heroes were not rap stars or people that you see in films or stuff like that, or Bollywood, Hollywood, nothing like that. My heroes were from the books, men who
Sahabas.
Sahabas, warriors. They have multiple wives, things like that. So I've always wanted to have multiple wives since I was young, since I was very young.
Okay, because during this time, obviously, you were pushing out content on social media with you and your first wife, and then obviously, eventually, the second wife came around, right? Tell me more about that. Meaning, in terms of polygamy,
a lot,
obviously, a lot of guys are watching, right? They obviously, I'll be honest with you, most guys do not have this kind of. They're not in a position to carry this out and fully execute this, right? And
they don't want to carry that responsibility.
Wife.
They want to have multiple relationships.
Of course, they want to. So that's what I'm saying. So tell me how you kind of executed that, and what was the most important thing that you needed? Was it finances? Was it that you already had one wife, so the second girl was like, oh, okay, he seems in a stable position. Let me. Tell me more about that.
For me personally, in my case, the second person fitted into our sort of lifestyle, our timetable, our work life. So the suggestion was from my then first wife. She said, you might as well marry her before somebody else does.
Who hooked all of this up? So that's what I'm saying. Did you approach or...
She was a volunteer for us. She was like working for us.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but she had a liking towards me. I had a liking towards her.
I did not know this.
And
volunteer, so for free, the Ruqyah business we're talking about, for free, she was helping out.
She was learning.
She was learning,
and we were going to employ her.
Okay.
And so my first wife observed that my then first wife, it's like 6-7 years ago, So I don't want to talk about it as if she might be someone else's wife. Do you understand? That's why I try to avoid the mention of too many details. So at the time, she said, well, you might as well marry her because she observed that she's good with her kids, takes on a lot of responsibilities in terms of work, admin work, stuff like that. She thought she's probably going to get married to someone else and then she won't be able to do all of these things for us and make
Okay.
my life more convenient.
She was a good team member.
So for the first wife, it would have been a very convenient option for her to suggest that, and that's what I assume. That's why she suggested it. And the other thing, I guess, having a sense of control,
Okay. What do you mean by that?
which is what she liked to do. I guess, like having a say in things. Like it's probably a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Because she knows that, well, she was practicing herself at the time, accepting of polygamy. Like if there was any debates that came up, she'd be the first one like backing up polygamy.
Yeah.
Polygyny. Because polygyny is a man having multiple partners. Polygamy is, a man or a woman having multiple partners. And polyamory is a woman having multiple partners. Yeah, so she was supportive of it.
So do you think this caused, because obviously when you were with the first wife, already you were pushing out content, you were already well known. Do you think having a second wife, this kind of got more eyes on you and on your content, and kind of even triggered a lot of should I say people, right? Oh my gosh, how comes he's got a second wife? What's going on here?
It definitely would have.
Because let's be honest, like I said before, not many guys will have the opportunity or are in a position to, right? And especially even showcase that on social media. But this is what you were doing, right?
I guess it's a concept that I did want to revive.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you actually, when you watch this back, good, to be honest, I don't even know where you can find this content. During those times, even the apps were different. There was like Vines and all this like weird.
I'd be glad if people can't find it.
I think it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing. Like I don't think you can search. Like even I don't think you can even find your stuff like that, to be honest with you. But moving on now, the community right now, there's gonna be a lot of people watching and they're gonna be fuming, right? The charity money. Did you steal 200,000 or 300,000 pound charity money, right? This is the big question. I want you to just clear it up. And to be honest with you, my take on this is even if we spend 2 hours here talking about this and discussing, pulling out receipts, papers, evidence, it will not, people do not want the truth. To be honest with you,
people want drama.
People kind of want that drama.
That should change. Us as a community and generally as human beings.
I think I'm very against this whole cancel culture.
You have to be sincere in how you conduct yourself, especially when it comes to other people's rights. Because look, say for example, if I accuse you of something that you didn't do, I'm gonna have to face Allah about that. If it's not true, it might be the case that Allah is gonna bring you in front of me, and since I lied about you, Allah would say, take from his deeds whatever you want. There's narrations to that effect. Especially slandering, it's worse than backbiting.
It's the worst, Like,
if you say something about someone that's true, and it's a bad thing, right? There's some exceptions, obviously. Generally, you don't backbite, but slandering, it's worse. When you make something up, or you just heard something, and you repeat it. Prophet said, it's enough of a person to be considered a liar for him to repeat everything he hears. You just heard it. It's like, I don't know if you've seen, recently, there's this brother called Khalid and Salama. They're a couple that They broke up. They had a divorce, right? I don't know the background or the details behind any of that. There are random people coming online and saying he did this and he did that, he married so somebody could one day come and say he married a Jew, another day somebody comes and says, oh, he left his wife and married a Hindu actress from Bollywood. And the truth is nobody knows. He hasn't said anything about it. There's no evidence about it.
I think people
we gain no benefit in saying those things about him. Because if it's not true and you're harming him, you are going to be held to account, man. It's not just a thing that people say, oh, you're going to be sinful, you're going to be held to account. Do you really, truly believe that you're going to be held to account for all your words and actions?
Yeah.
Because if so, you should be very careful.
I think it's the people as well. A lot of people have too much time on their hands. What you just mentioned, or the couple you just mentioned, see, I know about that, but I don't know the details. Meaning, it came up on my Explore, whatever, and guess what I did? Just scroll past it.
Same.
Why would it affect me?
Same.
Why?
I've seen it mentioned quite a few times.
Most people need to understand. I think this is more kind of the minority. Most people will go in, check the comments, then go back to YouTube, find a video of this, and who is the brother now married to, who is the girl now married to. All of they will investigate.
Some accounts will come up with extra spices to put on just so they can get a bit of clout.
That's it.
For example, I don't know if you've heard on the news recently about this prison officer lady.
Of course.
Having relations with she was caught having relations with an inmate. Right? These things, it often happens in prison.
This was not even like a first. This happens a lot. This happens a lot.
So now that that's happened, now some other idiot thought, well, this is my way of making money, and what I'm going to do is reenact that and act like there's a second video.
I don't know about that one.
But I just saw it on my Explore page. You said, oh, somebody saying, oh, there's fake videos coming out of people doing it just to try and
within the prison.
Not within the prison.
Oh right, just in. Oh okay.
Just getting into that sort of like prison uniform, just to get paid for
that
like
clout.
That sort of dirty content. That sort of dirty content. And now they're making use of that situation. Or like, in my case, like, oh, people made so many fake accounts. Oh, this is the real Hasanat. I've got the latest information on this and that.
Official Hasanat.
And this is what actually happened. And some of these stories, they just come out of thin air. And you have no idea where it came from. One guy saying he's a magician. He did magic to this girl.
Okay, so
and
bro,
now saying he's an agnostic.
So moving on, bro. So all of this is happening, right? I would say the most important thing in a marriage is the kids, right? You have one or two kids?
I have 3 kids.
No, 3 kids.
One
boy.
2 boys.
2 boys.
1 girl.
1 girl.
And we were supposed to have twins, but alhamdulillah, miscarried.
Okay. I didn't know that. MashaAllah. Okay, so bro, during this time, how did you kind of manage your kids? Because I believe, I'll say my take on it. Even when a couple has arguments and fights, I really believe that the children should be kind of away from
protected
this,
from that,
right? Protected from this and away from this. Like absolutely, they should not form any sort of bias towards their father or the mother, right? I really believe in this because from a young age, this could really mess a child's mind up, right? So, how did you manage that? And are you still seeing them, or do you go to visit them, or what's that like?
I guess we as human beings, whenever we have some sort of power, we tend to abuse it. A lot of people, like, they don't go through that filter of morals. Like, is this right? Is this wrong? So I often come across a lot of fathers in similar situations to me, where they haven't seen their children. Like about 2-3 years ago, I would have heard about a brother who hasn't seen his children for 6 years, and I'd be like, 6 years? You haven't seen your kids at all? How the hell do you cope? Right? And for me, it's been 5 years since I've seen my sons.
No way.
Wallah.
5 years?
5 years. I remember the exact date when I last saw them, June the 12th, 2019. I guess a lot of fathers go through similar experiences, and a lot of women, they abuse the fact that the courts and the system in this country would generally favor them whenever there's divorces.
Of course.
I guess that's common knowledge. Everyone knows that. But what can you do in a situation where it's out of your hands? You try your best to be the best human being you can be. And if there's any means you can take legally, you do so. If you're not in a position to, try and figure something out. Work on yourself, progress in life, try to build a better life for your children in the future. Yeah, so I haven't seen my sons for about 5 years now. And obviously, I miss them dearly. They were very close to me. They'd always sleep next to me.
The thing is, obviously, this is one case here, but tell me what you think. I think this is kind of on a rise in the Muslim community, right? Due to even the divorces in the Muslim countries increasing, right? Not to mention the Western countries, right? But within the Muslim community, I think it's more kind of acceptable now. Meaning compared to, I'm talking about 20, 30 years ago, there was a stigma, right? For instance, our parents' generation or our,
to be divorced,
it would be, there would be shame brought up on the family, on the person, right? Whereas now, I would say, I'll be very honest, the modern Muslim women are very trigger happy, right? Meaning they would, for any sort of reasons, emotional abuse. That's the latest term, isn't it? Emotional abuse. This is now a form of abuse. Now, what can that be? Like, that could be just raising your voice a little and saying, look, and maybe, I don't know, telling her to do something. And it could be literally just nothing bad, to be honest. But anything could be classed as emotional abuse now. So, what's your take on this?
I guess, with the older generation, and with the current generation, there's a lot of good things you can see in their culture and upbringing. There's a lot of bad things as well. Like divorce doesn't always have to be stigmatized. There's a lot of valid reasons why a woman can get a divorce. For example, look, if a man marries again and the woman can't handle it, right? She really can't handle it. She has the right to seek a divorce. She has the right to seek khul, to separate from her husband, right? Or say if he's, for example, committing zina, going and sleeping with prostitutes and things like this, bringing back diseases. There's so many harms that these kind of actions would bring. I guess a lot of red pill people, they like to mention the faults of women.
Who are they? Who are the red pill people? I'm definitely who I'm joking.
Who are the red pill?
Who is that?
I've seen a lot of reels and little clips from podcasts and stuff like that, where they're talking about women are this, women are that, women are like this, women are like that. Women can't do this, but men can. But I feel like that's another extreme from a lot of people, because the way they form their worldview is that a man can do whatever the hell he wants. He has no
boundaries.
No moral compass. So he doesn't even think whether this is acceptable in my religion, for example. Whether this is right. He'd be like, okay, I can have as many girls as I want. So he's sleeping with all these girls, like I said, and then catching diseases, passing them on, things like that. It's dirty. It's nasty culture. And similarly, say for example, the woman who, I don't know if you've seen, there's women that celebrate divorces. They get cake like it's their birthday.
No, of course, that's what I'm talking about. And just on that, right? If a Muslim single mother post something, the life that she's currently living without the father, of the kids, you would see under the comments all the women congratulating her, right? Saying, "You go, girl. You're the mother and you're the father." So even on Father's Day, she will get also, you're the superwoman and keep going. This is, but I'll be honest with you. My take on this is very, shall I say, very blunt and direct. I think this is the worst thing that could happen, right? To encourage this sort of behavior, or encourage divorce, or somehow glorify, the single motherhood, right? Because the truth is, single mothers go through a lot. It's very difficult to raise a boy or a girl without a father just by herself is very difficult.
Especially not having a good foundation yourself.
Exactly, yeah. And you know, the single mothers, they know that themselves, because one reason that they take these videos and show it off to their followers is because to show that, look, I am happy, I'm happy. But let's be honest, if you are truly happy, you wouldn't need to, keep showing it and saying it, right?
That's what I mean.
Stuff like this, man.
People do things more for the sake of creating a perception than actually living in that moment. Like contentment.
Because obviously the young generation of girls will see this, right? And we already know young girls are very impressionable, right? So when they see this, the older generation,
they're learning slogans.
Almost being fine, being a single mother, they're going to think, it's okay, I'll get married to this guy, and if anything happens, it's not going to be a big problem. I'll just get a divorce, right? Which is not the case.
You know what the thing is? I guess living in the West and in this society, and with all the ease that's been made in terms of communication, social media, when people think they've always got options.
Right?
It's just very easy to give up on what you've got. You don't value what you've got because you always think the grass is going to be greener on the other side. But then you come to the realization that everyone has faults. So if you're in a marriage, for example, and you're like annoyed with this and that about your husband or this and that about your wife, generally what Islam would tell you to do is to look at the good that they have, and with the bad that they have, you would sincerely advise them and try to get them to change. You would keep trying. Whether that be from the man or whether that be from the woman. I'll give you an example which a lot of people would have no clue about. There is the story of a companion, a Sahabi of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, my wife, he came and complained saying, my wife, she doesn't say no to any man who reaches out to touch her. It's a way of saying she's very promiscuous.
Very promiscuous.
She commits zina. He said, divorce her. He said, but I love her. So he said, keep her. Work on it.
Wow.
So you might have one sin that's like really bad, but there might be a lot of other really good things about you, right? And you might not want to change that bad thing about you, but the fact is you have the potential to change. And I think a lot of us, men and women, we often say, I tried everything, without knowing what everything means.
That's true. And just on that, bro, like I remember 20, 30 years ago, during our uncles and aunties generation, I'm telling you, if there was a problem, they did what you're saying, and also there would be a whole process, meaning the father would come, right? Or maybe there would be someone, a middleman, a uncle from somewhere, something would come and try and make amends.
There'd be two parties. There would be two parties,
and actually making an effort to get the couple back together, and
at least for the sake of the children.
Because
the they're the foundations of a family.
And Hasanat, just on that, marriage is not about happiness. I think this is what the modern Muslim women, or just in general the modern woman, they think that marriage is happiness. Marriage is about duty, right?
See, this is what I mean about, as a society, you're affected by what you see and hear. If you're always like hearing about these lyrics about love forever, and Bollywood, Hollywood films, living happily ever after, you're gonna expect that. And you're seeing other people's like posts and stuff like that, online, you're not seeing what's happening behind the scenes.
No, marriage is literally.
You just want it to be a certain way, how you observe it to be in the films and series. You pick up a lot of bad things from it. You pick up like bad slogans. You'd probably use it in arguments. I hear a lot of women use stuff like that, in arguments. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Now, marriage is, like I said, is about duty, And the main thing I would say, I think I've mentioned this before, is the children, man.
Yeah.
Right? If their parents are going through something, they feel it, and they hear it, everything like that, bro.
Say for example, if my parents were to ever have an argument, it would be me and my brothers who would come in the middle to resolve it. Divorce is not an option for them.
Yeah, of course not.
It's not their choice anymore. It's like, our choice. You understand?
Exactly.
And that should generally always be the case where it's possible to make things work.
So, bro, bringing the podcast to a close. What is, obviously, a lot of the stuff we talked about was 6 years, 7 years ago, very long time ago, right? We're in 2024 now. What is Hasanat doing now? Obviously, you are in a better situation. I can see yourself looking very healthy. Even when I first saw you last week.
2 days ago,
Alhamdulillah. So, what is Hasanat doing now, currently? What are your future kind of plans, goals? Tell me.
Right now, just trying to enjoy life, living in the moment, serving my parents, trying to be a good role model to my brothers to the best of my ability. I've got younger brothers, they're very young. 12, 15 and 20. And so we as a family, we're very close, alhamdulillah. And eventually, I don't say if, I say when, my sons do come back to me.
Inshallah.
As I believe that Allah will find a way, of course. Then that will feel like my life is a lot more complete. And in the meantime, I'm working on a few small startups, writing a few books, inshallah, in my spare time. I'm taking a long break from it for a few weeks and months now, but I'll continue again, inshallah. A lot more to come in life, inshallah.
Cool. Hasanat, it's been a pleasure, and obviously, if you ever need me for anything, or reach out to me.
Of course.
Any of your ventures or anything like that, we live actually very local to each other.
Neighbors.
That's it. Thank you, bro, for coming on. It's been a pleasure.